Hey, what's going on, Purple People podcast fans? Welcome to this week's show. It is Wednesday, June 12th. I am one of your hosts, as always, Kyle Smith here out in El Paso, Texas. And we got the Three Musketeers this week. What's up, Adam Carlson? Where are you at, sir?
I'm doing all right here. You caught me before I went back to Michigan to visit some family and friends. So I'm still sitting here in St. Paul and excited because Vikings football is getting closer and we're getting some weird news to discuss. So it should be a nice show.
Awesome. Yeah, we're going to jump into that here in a second. Last but not least, Kyle West. What's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. I'm excited for this week's show. This is one of those weird off-season shows where nothing happened and everything happened all in the same week.
That's right.
True.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of stuff to cover. This week, we are on episode number 351. Absolutely perfect. And, I'm just – every week we say it. I can't believe we have this many shows. Thanks to everybody that jumps in the live chat on YouTube. Speaking of YouTube, new subscriber, we want to say thank you to Nikki Smith. I don't know if we're distant cousins, but I'm glad that you are a subscriber on the YouTube channel. Thanks for jumping in there. Tell your friends about us.
Yeah, when
Adam?
you subscribe on the old YouTube channel, you can get those notifications that we're going live. And you can be sitting there eating breakfast or eating dinner by yourself and say, hey, podcast's going live. I can go hop in the chat and talk some football for a little bit. Let's do this. That's what we'd like. We'd like you to turn those notifications on, subscribe, and let us know in the chat what you think of all this Viking stuff going on. It makes it so much better for us.
It really does. And the show title, Adam, is not lost on me. I get that reference.
Nice.
I wish I could say the same. So you guys knew I wasn't going to get this.
I'm sure we'll talk about it. We'll bring it up later on in the podcast.
All right. Well, let's jump into quick hits. Before we get to the main topic today, we've got a couple of quick hits to go over. Gary Kubiak, Vikings assistant head coach and offensive advisor, told Sid Hartman of the Minnesota Star-Tribune that Garrett Bradbury will be the starting center. He is quoted as saying, "Oh, yeah, that's where he's going to be, and hopefully he'll stay there for a long time. He's doing great. For a rookie to be put there at center from day one, it's hard on him, but he's doing a great job." Well, that answers that question.
Well, that's nothing new. We knew that from the start of camp when he had the position there and Alfline was moved over. So this is just basically a confirmation rather than breaking news. And to me, it's something we already knew.
It is something that we already knew, but I do like the confirmation. We talk about that here on the podcast a lot. We report on the rumors and stuff, but we're big fans of hey, it's an official thing. And Gary Kubiak coming out and saying that, it puts a stamp if there was any questions out there for anyone else.
I'm just excited that we can not talk about that, and there's some solidity there and validity there. Validity. I made up a word, guys. Validity there.
So the only question now is whether or not Josh Klein's going to hold down that right guard spot or not.
Exactly where I was going to go next. Now we can start putting the pieces together on who's going where. So that'll be something that we'll talk about, I'm sure, in the weeks to come. I think we're down to 88 or 87 days till the season starts. So It'll be here very soon. All right, this one's cool. There's a report out there that the Vikings are going to bring in at least 2 punters on Wednesday, per Chris Thompson.
Today. Be today.
Chris Thompson, a favorite of the Purple People podcast. He's from the Pioneer Press. He said the Vikings would bring in at least 2 punters on Wednesday, and the team will be taking part in mandatory minicamp. Rumored names include former Packers punter Justin Vogel and former Chargers punter Shane Trapuka. I have no idea. I don't remember these guys, but that's cool.
Right now, I'm actually going to say that Shane Trapuka is probably the favorite to come in and compete with Matt Weil. And I do believe that Matt Weil is getting competition, not as a punter, but as a holder. I think this is what they're doing. I think this is how far they're going to make sure they've got someone who can hold the football properly on a kick.
Well, let's be honest. That was a big problem with the field goal unit last year, was Matt Weil's lack of ability to consistently hold the ball on that. And so if they got to bring in competition for something, as stupid as it sounds, competition for the holder spot, hey, you got to do it, man. Competition breeds success.
But whoever's the holder is going to be punting as well, and I think that really any of those guys will do a fine job. But yeah, to me, I need somebody back there that I know when they're lining up for a field goal is going to be able to perform the job that is required of them. So yeah, this is
It's like
a little more important than a lot of fans might think it is. They might just be like, oh, well, no big deal. But yeah, this is kind of a big deal. I mean, the Vikings have already wasted a draft pick on a kicker that probably is going to have a successful career somewhere else. They've had to pay money to bring in Dan Bailey a couple times now just because they needed a kicker so badly. I don't know. To me, this is almost like a weird damage control for the punter holder thing. And I don't know. Hiring that coach didn't make it any better at all for me. And now that everything's just kind of like strange when it comes to the special teams unit, because they've got that weird situation with the long snapper. Now they've got this weird situation with the holder punter. And let's be honest here, the kicker that we've got ain't going to last a couple more seasons. So right now, the entire special teams unit with Marcus Sherrills leaving, getting a new gunner return man, it's weird. It's really odd not to have any stability.
Yeah, Mike Prefer out. We got the new special teams coach that's coming in. There's a lot of question marks, I think, on special teams coming into this season.
Yeah, question marks. The unknown is what's weird. We, think back like 4 or 5 years ago, we knew who the kicker was. We knew who the return specialist was. We didn't have these questions. And now with all these question marks everywhere, it almost feels like familiar territory, honestly. We're just like, fuck, man. What are we going to do now? Hopefully it works. I feel like this is the same mentality we had last year when the offensive line went to shit. We're just kind of like, we'll figure it out. I'm hoping that they find some stability. But Adam made very solid points. I still see changes coming in the future because Dan Bailey's getting older.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going to happen with the punter situation? I feel like, God, we've changed punters so much in the last couple of years. We just need to find somebody and stick with them.
And I don't understand this Austin Cutting situation one bit either. So I don't know. We've got Jason Tavade in the chat here giving us a big old hello. Hopefully you can chime in and let us know what you think of some of these situations happening with the Vikings preseason and how it's all going to go moving forward. And like we said, we love having you guys in the chat. So be vocal, have fun. Let's do this.
Nice. All right. There's a rumor alert. The Vikings are possibly interested in extending the contract of defensive end Stephen Weatherly. Last season, he had the opportunity to start for 6 games when Everson Griffin was out. He finished the season with 35 tackles, 8 quarterback hits, 3 sacks, and a forced fumble.
Well, you can kiss him goodbye now.
What's that?
You can kiss him goodbye. He's gone.
You think so?
Well, they just blew their load all over Kyle Rudolph there. It's
yeah.
I thought that was
they're $21 million in debt for next year. No.
I thought that I read somewhere that the Rudolph contract is basically a 2 for 2, like a 2-year on guarantee, whatever, and then maybe an option 2 years later, and it saved like $4 million in cap space. Did I read that wrong?
For this season, yes.
Okay.
Well, they were already $1 million or so in debt, so yeah, they've got a little space to wiggle with this year. Next year, $21 million in debt. I don't know what they're going to do. My guess is that they're going to have to not extend anyone else and cut Everson Griffin.
That's a hot take, you guys. You heard it first here.
I just don't see it. I don't see how the money can be made unless there's a massive jump in salary cap this year or heading into next year that I just don't see coming. This contract, giving Kyle Rudolph the same amount of money as the Chiefs are giving Travis Kelce, no.
Yep, this is why I didn't want to talk about the Kyle Rudolph stuff because I wasn't happy with what this was. And yeah, I mean, he had some very good praise from around the NFL. I actually listened to that today when I was going to the gym earlier, and it was basically he's not going to blow you away like Gronk used to do with the catch and run, and he's not going to steamroll people, but they appreciate it just like we did on the show.
He had 4 touchdowns last year.
Well, not that. They appreciated the all-around effort that he gives. You know, we always talk about how good he is. He'll grind it out.
And how he can't break a tackle.
They were talking about how good of a blocker he was, and putting that together, and they had some other weird stat that was on there. But for what I see, man, if you've already invested a second-round pick in a guy, hang on to Rudolph for one more year and cut your ties with it, because this is against the narrative of what I would have done, but I'm not a GM. But I'd rather get rid of him early 1 year than keep him around too much longer, and it looks like that's what they've done.
This is a nostalgia act right here. It really is. They don't want to see him go. The team, Rudolph and his agent knew they had leverage because there's that point with the team where, oh, he's good in the community. He's had some good plays. But at this point, I'd have rather seen him walk, and I'd have rather seen him got a nice contract somewhere else and get a great compensatory pick for him after spending a year working with Smith Jr. I don't know. I'm worried about Smith Jr.'s development now because he's going to be splitting those reps with Kyle Rudolph. And we knew that for at least this season, we were going to see a lot more tight end on the field instead of wide receiver in those multiple pass catching sets. But I'm worried that Rudolph's going to be on the field a lot more often when it should be Irv Smith Jr. In the future. So I hope this doesn't hold Irv back. I know that the 1 year that they had planned for the holdover was, in my opinion, perfect. It could have worked out really well. I'm just a little confused about the whole situation.
Yeah, I think the Vikings salary cap moving forward, like you touched on, Adam, is I hope they know what they're doing, because if this falls apart, they're in a world of hurt.
Well, this means Trey Waynes is gone. There's no hope in Trey Waynes coming back. Mackenzie Alexander is going to be a massive challenge for them to try to bring back if they want to. David Morgan's going to get $4 or $5 million a year somewhere. And like I said before, Stephen Weatherly has already proven that he can step in and be a starter in the NFL. Maybe not a top tier starter, but a starter nonetheless. He'll get paid somewhere. The team just, I don't understand where they're at mentally, and what Kyle Rudolph has done to this point to earn a contract that size. I don't really understand it.
The chips are all on the table for right now. They're really just like, we're all in right now, 2019, fucking go for it.
It's true.
Yeah.
But when you get so many guys getting extensions and everybody's got their hand in the cookie jar, that opening is only so wide, somebody's not going to get a cookie.
Yeah, you guys had a great article out. I don't know who wrote it, about the 5 Vikings that should have gotten an extension, not named Kyle Rudolph, that should have gotten it first. Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. There's going to be a major name or two that are going to be gone. Because I think
young players that aren't going to make it.
How much is the salary cap projected to go up next year? Maybe like 10 million?
Yeah, it usually jumps close to like between 9 and 11 million.
Yeah. Yep.
Which means they're going to be looking for other players to restructure. And the Vikings have already gotten a couple players to restructure. And they got to hope that there's got to be players on the roster that want more guaranteed money and are willing to lower that cap hit to get more guaranteed money and bonuses. And I just don't know.
How are we setting for this season, Adam? Like, what happens if we're week 3 and someone gets hit with an injury?
Well,
we got to sign a player off the street.
Right now, not bad. Okay. That's why that Kyle Rudolph deal where they freed up a little bit of money this year works pretty well. And if they don't spend that, they can get a little bit of that to roll over. And that's the hope, is that they can have that roll over into next year. But as we've seen in the past, stuff happens, and sometimes you just got to spend that money. And as we were talking before about signing the punters, any punter they sign at this point is going to be league minimum and won't hurt the salary cap one bit. So those signings, don't worry about those hurting the cap at all.
Yeah, NFL don't care about punters. You can pay them with a sack of Arby's. Like, come on into training camp, we'll get you some fucking Arby's. Like, come on in and punt. Like, they don't. Goodell don't care about that.
Punters are people too. Remember that here.
I'm wearing a punter's jersey right now too. I got my Chris Cluey jersey on.
I thought that was a McNabb.
Yeah, exactly what I was going to say. It's like, that's not your Donovan McNabb jersey.
I almost bought one. I was almost suckered into the Donovan McNabb jersey, but I did not do it. Didn't do it.
So what do you think about that recent, like, Hall of Fame thing. Is Donovan McNabb a Hall of Famer?
No.
Hall of people you recognize. Yeah, you recognize Donovan McNabb. Put him in.
He can go in the Hall of Good.
What was that photo that you had? Hall of Famous?
The Hall of Famous, and that is officially from the NFL, the Traveling Hall of Fame exhibit.
Yeah, Donovan McNabb is Hall of Famous. Like, I know him. He's a guy. He played.
Ying Yaj loves the Cap helping Rudy extension, and for this season, yeah, it's nice. But down the road, especially next year, it's kind of ouchy.
Kind of ouchy.
Kind of ouchy.
I can't even follow up on anything with that. That was perfect.
Yeah.
Vikings rookie long snapper Austin Cutting is going to be at minicamp this week. The plan for him now is to be with the team at the starting of training camp. He is on 60-day leave after May 30th Air Force graduation. He'll be stationed near Omaha, Nebraska after his leave, so off at Air Force Base. Air Force spokesman said it'll be much later this summer before any determination is made if Cutting can play the NFL this season. That's kind of cool, I guess.
Yeah. What do you think about the fact that an Air Force spokesman had to talk about his
I can't say anything bad because I'm under contract, so.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Good job, Air Force. Way to go.
I'm a little surprised they let him go to NFL camp.
So there's some stuff out there called Follow Your Dream Leave. Like I'm a musician. If I wanted to go do that stupid shit on The Voice or the American Idol, technically I could find a way to do that. Commanders can grant their people free leave on certain situations. But if he went to the Air Force Academy, I'm assuming he's an officer. So probably not, because those are very important people, unless he's made it onto the football team of some sort. But anyways, he's going to be in off at Nebraska, so he's not going to be that far from the Vikings. But if I had my guess, I don't think that the Air Force is going to let him leave. Why would they?
Well, Chris Thompson wrote an article about the competition between him and McDermott at long snapper, and I read it a couple times, and I looked at the tweets, and I was like, this makes no sense, because the best the Vikings can hope for right now is that they bring him in and get him a little bit of experience, and then in 2 years, if they get the exemption, bring him in to compete with for the long snapper job.
Yeah.
And if they don't get the exemption, then we're waiting 4 years.
Yeah, I don't know. This is a questionable pick if you ask me, but I have no idea. I have as much knowledge as you guys, and I'm willing to put my money on Big Blue is going to get whatever they need out of this person before the NFL and the Vikings do. So that's what I would put my money on.
Whole situation's just stupid.
I don't understand it. I don't understand it.
Such is the life of a Viking fan, especially with the Spielman era. There's some things that you just knock out of the park, and you're like, man, this is awesome. And there's this stuff where you're just like, wait, what happened? Okay. We'll see. We'll keep you up to date on the long snap.
I mean, I'm super excited for the kid that he got drafted to the Vikings. Like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I love the story. I love the story behind it. Like, that's awesome. I just don't get the logistics of, is he going to be able to play when? I don't know. I don't know.
It's no different than taking an international prospect that's going to take 3-4 years to get up to an NFL level. So I don't know. The Vikings seem to like making these feel-good, trendy picks that just don't really end up landing anywhere. So I hope this isn't one of them. But we'll have to wait and see.
It sounds like we will know in either 2 to 4 years.
Yeah.
We'll break it to you first on this.
Yeah.
All right. There's another rumor out. Andrew Sendejo, former Vikings safety, is currently with the Philadelphia Eagles, and he is projecting to be the third safety on the Eagles depth chart. Who are their safeties?
That's a good problem for the Eagles to have right there.
Who's their safeties? Malcolm Jenkins and who else?
I don't know.
I don't know. I remember his name coming up. I mean, that's cool.
This is my first time hearing this, so I don't know.
Yeah, Andrew Sendejo is on the Eagles squad, and good luck, I guess.
Apparently, he's not a starter. Which all right, that's okay.
Let's talk about the Wilfs for a second. The Wilf Family Ownership Group surprised the Alan Page Education Foundation with $40,000 in donation support of the NFL's Inspired Change initiative to support social justice. I like that. That's cool.
One of the cool things about Alan Page is
everything.
Well, yeah, but he doesn't do appearances. Like he won't do a free autograph signing anywhere. Anything that he does a signing for or public appearance for is for the foundation. So if you actually go to the foundation website, they have an address where you can send in whatever item you want to get signed, and along with a donation to the foundation, and you can get a signed item back, which I think is really cool.
Really?
Yeah.
And you said that's on the foundation's website.
Yep, the Alan Page Education Foundation website.
Well, I guess I know what I'll be doing tomorrow. That's
going
pretty
to
cool.
a good cause too.
For sure.
We talk about Alan Page whenever the opportunity comes up on the podcast, and he's got to be one of my favorite, just old school Minnesota Vikings. Not only as a player, but just everything that he's accomplished after being a Viking is just super, super cool.
The whole time that we've been doing this, the chat has been talking about the Hall of Fame, whether it's Donovan McNabb or Andy Reid or who deserves to go in. And I think Andy Reid will go in.
Yeah, for sure.
Just because of his dances and all that. It's those locker room dances. That's what's going to get him money and fame and power. Not being a good coach, dancing.
My favorite thing that I ever saw about Andy Reid was when they photoshopped the Waffle House menu as his play card. And that kind of hit home with me because I really love Waffle House, so I appreciated that one.
Absolutely, and I don't know if Reid's the first ballot, but he will get in eventually.
Yeah, he's had a pretty good winning percentage.
Especially with the Chiefs. They're a darn good team with Patrick Mahomes on them right now, too.
Yeah, he's made offenses work, even without Brad Childress by his side.
The old leather couch, Brad Childress.
What's your role with this team going to be? Oh, old leather couch.
Old leather couch.
Oh, man. That's
one that you put on the parking for free because you don't want it in your front room anymore. Brad Childress.
Jason Tavada has a question for us. He says, I've never been to a Waffle House. Am I missing out? And yes, I love Waffle House. I know this is a weird thing for someone up north to say, but chicken and waffles, man. If you haven't had chicken and waffles, you're missing out.
We sell chicken and waffles at work, and they are delicious. So, yes.
So,
try it.
I will tell you this because they're everywhere. But if you have $12 to your name and you want to eat just like a king and still have a little left over, you can always get the All-Star there. Or is it the – yeah. You get the breakfast side and you get the dinner side. This is a very crucial topic. We're going to have to discuss this. I love all the bowls that they make. You pile everything into one, chicken, Philly cheesesteak, meat. It doesn't matter, whatever you want. They have everything you want. And you don't ever feel like when you walk into a Waffle House, you're like, oh, man, I wonder if I'll be accepted here or I'll fit in. They take everyone. Everyone. I love Waffle House.
And we're not even sponsored by them. We just like their food.
Yang says that they're lacking in the dessert department, though.
You know what? I can't.
Let's be honest. After a plate of waffles and syrup, though, I think you're all sweetened out.
You know what, Yang? Fair point. I've never asked for a dessert there, so next time I go, that'll be the first thing that I look for.
You'll be looking at that menu like Andy Reid.
Oh, that's right. Without shame. All right, more Adrian Peterson talk. I'm going to retire a Viking, he says. I was here a decade, made great memories, everlasting friends. I'm forever indebted to the state of Minnesota. I'll definitely be retiring a Viking for sure. I don't disagree with that statement. I just think it's funny how the last couple of years he was here, it was all doom and gloom. And,
I am happy to hear these kind of reverse that doom and gloom.
Oh, absolutely. I'm totally for it. I just think it's funny because he was all about, oh, I don't know if they support me, even though we threw money at you for being an idiot and all that other stuff. So, hey, man, bygones be bygones, I guess. Yeah, I mean, he was a fucking MVP running back, guys. Running back MVP in the 2010 years. So, yeah, you got to give it to the guy. He's going to go as a Viking into the Hall of Fame for sure. And I'm happy to hear this. That's the other question. How many more seasons does he have left in him? If he gets 800 yards this season, I think it's like 7 and some change, but I'll round to 800. I think he moves up to like 6 all time on the list.
And I think he's still got a couple seasons in him.
He's a Terminator, man. Say what you will about him. You know, he's had his injuries in the past, but he's got that Terminator skeleton underneath that, like, he can still play. I agree, Adam. I think he's got a couple more seasons left in him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he could. There was a big debate I saw on the old Instagram. Somebody got really mad from the Chargers fan pages out there, but somebody said that Adrian Peterson was better than the Danian Tomlinson.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, that was a heated debate. I would love to ask outside of the Viking fandom that we have here.
That's tough. That's a tough one.
Better.
I don't know, man.
I have bias, man. I do, and I hate to say it, but the guy won a fucking MVP and rushed for the second most ever.
Here's the thing about Adrian, though, and I don't know how much this matters, but he was on some terrible Vikings teams with Christian Ponder where he was the offense.
Yep.
He was the offense for Minnesota, and I mean, at least LT had like.
Yeah, this is the Barry Sanders versus Emmitt Smith debate right here.
Right.
Yeah, Barry Sanders was all the Lions had. That was it.
Yeah.
Emmitt Smith had some surrounding talent anyway, so I don't know. I would actually have to take a little while on debating between Peterson and Tomlinson.
I'd have to sit down and look at some stats because I don't know off the top of my head what.
Because like King says, Tomlinson's also a former MVP.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The accolades line up pretty nicely between those two.
That's true.
Did LT hit 2,000? Did he have a 2,000-yard season?
I don't think at rushing. I don't know.
Yeah. But he was a good pass catcher. He was a better pass catcher.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Than what Peterson was.
For running backs,
So he was
hold the record for most touchdowns in a season. I'm almost positive he does.
Yeah, I think you're correct on that one.
I don't know,
So
but
I don't know.
think it's going to be interesting to talk about that. And that might be something that comes up if he ever, when he gets into Hall of Fame discussions.
I'm going to Google the 2,000-yard rushers of the NFL. Oh, there's some good names on here. Oh, okay. We'll get to that in a minute.
And the list isn't even really that long.
No, it's not. I just saw I saw OJ at some point on here, and I'm looking. I'm like, oh, God.
Oh, yeah. He was the first, wasn't he?
Yeah, 1973, 2003
Yeah.
yards.
Yep.
Chris Johnson, 2006. Terrell Davis, 2008. Barry Sanders, 2053. Jamal Lewis, 2066. AP with 2097. He was so close to Eric Dickerson's 2105. So it's not that many.
But we can all agree that the best running back all time is Peyton Hillis, right? Madden cover boy?
Without a doubt.
All right.
How many Madden covers do all those other guys have? We'll wait.
Right? I mean, I think Peterson's been on one, and I think Tomlinson's been on one as well.
That's true. I was thinking about that.
Adrian was on Madden 25.
What's that?
I said Adrian was on the Madden 25 cover where it was like.
Which when Madden 25 rolls around, what are they going to call that now?
Yeah, I don't know.
Be funny if they just reuse the title again.
They probably will.
The last one here is pretty cool. Former tight end Steve Jordan to enter the Vikings Ring of Honor in Week 8 against the Redskins. Isn't his son Cam Jordan of the Saints?
I don't know.
I'm going to have to Google that. I thought I heard that today.
It's a Google thing. It's a Google thing that you should Google.
When I was listening today. Let's Google that while you guys talk about Steve Jordan.
Well, Steve Jordan, a lot of us, I don't think, most newer fans or younger fans, yeah, they're confirming it in the chat. Yang Yaj, Jason Tavides says, yeah, it's his son. But I don't think younger fans really realize the contributions that he made to the team, because I think the Vikings fans really kind of got really passionate about the team. You know, during like the start of the Randy Moss, Dante Culpepper era. And
yeah, that's my era. Like that's when I came on.
and stuff before that kind of fell through the cracks a little bit. So the contributions that Steve Jordan made in the past are kind of not as highly remembered as some of the other situations. But yeah, he was the best tight end for the Vikings from the mid 80s to the early 90s. Yeah, just absolutely amazing. Former Pro Bowler. At that time, I was actually a little bit more of a basketball fan. I was following the Charlotte Hornets and stuff around that time. So I was definitely bigger into basketball around that period of time and more casual into football. But I was also a big wrestling fan. So as a casual Vikings fan and a kind of hardcore wrestling fan, it absolutely blew my mind when I saw Steve Jordan of the Minnesota Vikings doing a skit on WWF Wrestling with Mr. Perfect. And that was something that I will probably never forget. And I even go back and watch it sometimes just for the heck of it.
Not just a skit, Adam, but like the skit I think that they did with Mr. Perfect, where he throws the touchdown pass to himself.
Oh yes,
that is that is amazing, and it's fucking Steve Jordan and the Minnesota Vikings. Like, what are the chances of that? Like, that's an odd connection to make.
It's not connection at all. Do you know why?
Well,
Mr. Perfect was from Minnesota.
Yeah.
My dad used to play poker with Mr. Perfect's dad. So
that's cool.
You know, the whole Minnesota tie works together pretty well, and I love how everything just kind of Minnesota love comes through. I think that's a little bit why I was such a big Mr. Perfect fan. I wanted to support him because, you know, friend of the family and everything. And when it was really cool that all that was happening, and then I saw this skit with a Vikings player. I just loved it so much.
And yeah, you're right, Adam. Steve Jordan is one of those Vikings players that you don't hear a lot about online from Vikings fans, because he's kind of, like you said, he's in the middle of two eras. Like, you have the old school purple people eaters era that everyone talks about because that's our historic team, and then you have like the '98 era with like Randy Moss. And Steve Jordan is right in the middle of that.
Yeah, the stuff in between gets lost.
Yeah, we don't talk a lot about the middle, in between kind of players, and that's the era that he came from. And I will freely admit, I need to do more research into him as well too. But if he's going into the Ring of Honor, I mean, he must have been a damn good player for the Vikings. Do we know, like, statistically, like, where does he rank? Like,
he is 6th all time among Vikings receivers. He has 6,307 career yards, which is pretty awesome, and that's with the Vikings. He wasn't a whole lot of a red zone threat because he only had 28 career touchdowns. He was more of like that first down player that'll just move the chains for you when you need him to. But this is something that I thought was kind of cool. Some of his catches back in the day, when they didn't average out targets, they didn't factor that in when figuring out catch percentage. It was at that era where targets weren't always added up. So his receptions are more than his targets, so it shows him with a catch percentage of 411.6%. So I find that a little amusing.
That's a good stat for your fantasy football team.
But to put things in perspective, the highest active leader right now for the Vikings in terms of receiving yards is Adam Thielen at 38.97. So it would take him maybe 2.5, 3 years, if he can keep at the pace he's at, to surpass Steve Jordan. And Adam Thielen's already had a career where you kind of got to assume that he is on the path for the Ring of Honor when he's done.
Oh, don't jinx him, but yes, I agree.
God.
Everyone knock on something.
Oh,
do it.
There it goes.
There goes the ACL. I can hear it popping. I can hear it.
Oh, no, it's not Steve Jordan's ACL. Don't do it. But yeah, 6th all time for Vikings receiving yards. I do think that he'll eventually get passed by both Thielen and Diggs with the contracts that both of them signed, and possibly even Kyle Rudolph, who's sitting in 9th place at 3,787 yards. So It'll be interesting to watch this going forward, whether or not he does get bumped down the list. But for now, he's in good company up there with Chris Carter, Randy Moss, Anthony Carter, Jake Reed, and Sammy White. So,
yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think anyone is ever going to catch Chris Carter's 12,383 yards and 110 touchdowns.
Not going to happen.
If Adam Thielen plays until he's 45, you might have the opportunity to do so. Really quick, how many players are in the Vikings Ring of Honor? Do we know? Does anyone
I'm
have
not
that?
sure. I really don't know.
I'm going to Google it while you guys filibuster.
But the only reason I bring it up is because I feel like the Vikings have a really good selection of players in the ring. Like, they don't just put anyone in the Ring of Honor. Like, that's a really big accolade.
Yeah, they've got some interesting players in there, too, that are never really going to be considered Hall of Famers, but, that
they're important to our franchise's history. Yeah, yep. We had talked about this years ago. I really want to see, and I don't know if they could do this, but I want to collectively see Kevin and Pat Williams go in together in the Vikings Ring of Honor. Like, I think that would be really
cool. To see the Williams wall go in.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm counting 23 right now.
Okay.
Which, that's great. There's no need to be retiring so many numbers. There's no need to be pushing so many for the Hall of Fame, which the Vikings have a ton of Hall of Famers that have been with the franchise for over the years. So, and of course, there's always the debate over Vikings players who should be in the Hall of Fame. But still, when you look around and you see all the coaches, a couple of the staff members, some of the players that are part of that Ring of Honor, it's got to be a fantastic honor for Steve Jordan.
Yeah, definitely. And I agree, Adam, in terms of like retiring a jersey number, I'm not so concerned about that. You put the players who are deserving in the Ring of Honor. I think that is that's just as good of an honor as retiring a number, I think.
Yeah, and I don't think you need to be retiring numbers so often. It's weird because we're going to be talking about jersey numbers because today I just got my Irv Smith Jr. jersey that I ordered for an autograph signing coming up. And it's still a little weird seeing 84 with Smith Jr. on it.
That I can actually get behind. I might have to get a Smith jersey or a Smith Jr. jersey just for the name.
You have to get a Smith Jr. jersey for your son.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, come on.
No, I talked to Kyle last night and found a really cool up-and-coming website for hoodies last night. So I ordered a Diggs.
Fucking, I gotta order that one.
I ordered a Diggs hoodie last night. It's pretty sweet.
Is it the RIP Diggs one?
No, I ordered that shirt last week. forget the context on that. There's all these Minnesota like up-and-coming or smaller brands. Like Instagram is where I get a lot of stuff. And it's got Stephon Diggs with angel wings. And the first thing Adam says, because he has to ruin everything in the fucking that thing. He's like, "Oh my God, did Diggs die?"
R.I.P. Diggs.
Yeah, it's the walk-off touchdown from the Minneapolis Miracle. Diggs, hold the ball out with angel wings. But I found a pretty cool site that does hoodies, and they do it for hockey and baseball and basketball. Not every single team, but they cover a lot of them. But I have a Thielen jersey. I had to show Diggs some love, so got that coming up. So now both of them are going to get hurt, and we're going to have to rely on Chad Beebe to take us to the Super Bowl.
Hey, I'm a big Chad Beebe fan, so it all works out.
We got some pretty good stuff here. We've got Young Yaj calling Adam Thielen for the Hall of Fame, which, woo
boy.
I like it. I would love it.
Bold. That's bold.
Jason Tavade says he needs 3 to 5 more really great years and some postseason production. And yeah, I think that if the Vikings can reach a couple Super Bowls here in the next couple years, I think you're talking.
Yeah. Yeah, because Captain Caucasian's going to take us to the promised land. You heard
and Jason Tavade says Patterson wore the number 84, so I'm over the number on someone else other than Moss. You're forgetting about Jinxie Cat and who was that receiving tight end that everyone was so excited about that wore the number 84?
Bell? Blake Bell? No.
No. No, he was a purely receiving tight end, and everybody was like, "Oh, this guy's going to be a pass catching monster." He never even really made the roster. Bucky Hodges, thank you, Jason.
Oh, that's right.
If you would have held a gun to my head and said, "Is Bucky Hodges still on the team?" I probably would have said yes. I'm going to be perfectly honest on that one.
That went from R.I.P. Diggs to R.I.P. Kyle West. Jesus, man. I haven't thought about that kid in 3 years. That's weird.
It's weird thinking about all the former Vikings and everything that happened there. I actually wrote an article over on the Viking Age recently about Charles Johnson, which is kind of a neat little footnote in Vikings history because he had a couple of really good games with Minnesota. He had some really nice plays, and he absolutely tore it up over in the AAF. And it was kind of sad to see how heartbroken he was to see the AAF fold because he just found his love for football there again. I'm glad
anyone signed him?
Yeah, he's in Philly. And he said that it brought back his love for football and that he's just getting another opportunity there. And I hope that it works out for him because he looked like he was having an absolute blast in the AAF till that went down.
Yeah. That's the bad luck with the Vikings players just follows them everywhere. So bad. All right, that's mean. All right, let's
I'd take Charles Johnson over Laquan Treadwell.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm with you there.
Even if things don't work out for him with the Eagles, though, who knows? Maybe he could have a little bit more fun in the XFL because that league looks like it might be a little bit more lenient and entertaining for the players and not as strict with a lot of the formalities of the league.
Josh Gordon's going to light it up.
Yeah, and then he's going to play football.
Yeah, and then he's going to play football in the XFL.
Wait, hold on, Kyle. Did you just say Josh Gordon's going to light it up?
Yes, pun intended.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Just wanted to hear that. I appreciated that very much. Thank you. All right, let's jump into this main topic for this week. This week's main topic is going to talk about the 2020 College Football Hall of Fame ballot. And there's 5 former Vikings on there. This is pretty cool. Morton Anderson, former kicker. Brad Culpepper, defensive tackle. E.J. Henderson, linebacker. Steve Hutchinson, guard. And I'm going to blast this name here. Eric.
Bieniemy.
Mark. I am Burgundy. Running backs coach. So that's kind of cool. College Football Hall of Fame ballot.
Who the fuck is Brad Culpepper?
Yeah, he was a defensive tackle. Yeah, big fella.
Okay.
Hey guys, social media question of the week: who the fuck is Brad Culpepper?
But this shows a little bit more as to a lot of these players that can come out and just either be absolute stars in the NFL or the ones that are just kind of okay, and then there's the ones that just kind of disappear. And Brad Culpepper, he's a footnote in the NFL, but college football, man, he was dominant. And then you got like Morton Anderson, who was a Hall of Famer. Steve Hutchinson, who should get in the Hall of Fame pretty soon here. Eric Bieniemy, who is one heck of a coach, even if being a player didn't kind of pan out for him in the NFL. And E.J. Henderson, who, in my opinion, pretty solid middle-of-the-road player in the NFL.
Mm-hmm. Hey, EJ is a legend for Vikings fans. I think we all respect E.J. Henderson and what he did for this team. Maybe not a legend.
Maybe a little far legend.
Remembered fondly by Vikings fans.
Okay, I'll work with that.
There you go.
I will work with that. Legend's a little bit far for me. But yeah, that list is pretty impressive, and the list right now is really massive. There's going to be a lot of voting on it. But it'll be interesting to see how this pans out because, as I said before, the great college players aren't always the great NFL players. So you might see Brad Culpepper get in before Steve Hutchinson or current NFL Hall of Famer Morton Anderson, which would be kind of mind-blowing from the perspective of an NFL fan, but be completely justified on the college level.
Yeah, sure. You see that. You see guys that come in college, have a great college career, and then maybe take a quarterback, for example, have a great college career, like, I don't know, Colt McCoy or somebody like that, and they're a backup for the rest of their career.
Matt Leinart.
Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to go there. He has a playoff win. I guess I'll give him that. But
Jamarcus Russell.
oh,
Oh.
man, that one turned out bad. Ugh.
I don't think Russell was even really that great in college, but I just wanted to say his name.
Yeah. This is cool, though, just from a pure numbers standpoint. You have 5 people, so the likelihood of at least 1 or 2 of them getting in is pretty good.
Yeah.
Tie it in with Vikings news and history, and good luck to all of them. I hope all of them get in.
That would be pretty darn awesome.
When is the voting for that? Do you know?
They don't announce the winners until the week before the championship game, so there's a long time before that the winners get announced. But voting ends here in the next month or so.
Okay.
But then it's the long waiting game to see who actually got in.
Well, as I said, probably the 3rd time on the show. When that happens here, we'll break it to you first.
Yeah, I hope to see a couple of those guys get in. That'd be nice. Otherwise, that's really all I've got this week.
Yeah, we hit on the topic, like we said, Rudy signed an extension. Kind of puts us in a little bit of a bind. Frees up stuff now, but going back to what we were talking about earlier, the future is going to be
Ouchie?
in limbo. Yes, very much. It's going to be
ouchie.
It's gonna Ouchie is the name of the game this week. Ouchie finances in Minnesota. Yeah, I guess that could be a decent social media question. I'm thinking of it, assuming that we'll say the average being 10 million goes up. We don't have to sign anybody because no one gets hurt, which we know that's not going to happen. We'll have about 14 rolling over next year. You still have 7 or 8 there. You're going to lose. Who would, in the chat and on our social media pages, who would you be okay with us letting go of next year? We've mentioned some names like Griffin and Trey Waynes, Stephen Weatherly. We're probably not going to be able to extend him now. So
Mackenzie Alexander's probably out the door.
Yep.
I don't like it.
David Morgan not being able to come back. CJ Ham will probably be able to come back on a cheap deal. I think he just loves playing for the Vikings.
Yep.
I think so too.
I think he loves being in Minnesota, and he'll take almost any offer they put on the table for him.
That and I saw Dalvin Cook and he were at an event. Pretty cool with the running back group there.
Well, Ham's a Duluth boy, so I understand him completely wanting to stay here. He's only 2 hours from home.
True. Getting to play for your hometown team. How cool is that, man?
And we've got our resident Philadelphia Eagles fan here in the chat who, if he goes back and listens to this week's show, there's a lot of Eagles chat in this show.
Very true.
So welcome, Jay Hot.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Honestly, no BS aside and all that. We appreciate you coming in and interacting.
What does he think? Hey, this is a good opportunity. Does he think that Donovan McNabb should be in the Hall of Fame?
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, and hopefully he can let us know.
Let us know, too, what you think about that Wentz deal. I hated it at first, and now I understand why they did it, and I think it was actually really, really smart.
I'm still not with you there. I understand locking down what you got, but I don't think they really know what they got yet.
Yeah, injuries there are the big looming, lingering question. But, yeah, I'd love to know from an Eagles fan perspective. How do you feel about them moving on? Nick Foles posing in his –
says McNabb, yes.
Ooh, okay.
All right. Yeah, Vikings fans didn't get to see a lot of the great McNabb when he was wearing purple and gold. So,
remember when he ran into the back of the end zone?
Oh yeah,
yeah,
and fell down. Yeah, I remember.
Yep.
Oh man,
it was not pleasant for us in Minnesota, but it rarely is.
No, it didn't work out very well.
You thought the Redskins year was kind of like, oh god, that wasn't good, and Minnesota's like, hold my beer. We got it. It was so. Can we talk about that? Can we end the show on those 3 shitty years in a row? So you had the Brett Favre 6-10 year, which was awful coming off of that NFC Championship, heartbreaking loss. And you had the 6-10 Brett Favre dies on the field at TCF Stadium year. Yeah, Donovan McNabb, and then what was it, Christian Ponder the next year?
Christian Ponder. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God.
We talked
It
ourselves
was
into
the year after
Christian Ponder.
McNabb that we got some of that that Josh Freeman magic.
And then we had the 5-9-1 Matt Castle year, or 5-10-1, whatever it is. The Matt Castle year. God, those were awful years to be a fan. Oof.
Yeah, anytime anyone brings up the whole fire Mike Zimmer bullshit.
And we talk about how bad those offenses are, but the defenses were worse.
Yeah. The year that Jared Allen almost broke the sack record, we were on pace to have like the worst defense ever.
That's because Jared Allen just did whatever the fuck he wanted to. He didn't even run a defense. Jared, just go do what you want, and the rest of the defense will do whatever bullshit.
Do you remember when the Vikings wanted to move Jared Allen out to linebacker? And that lasted like a day and a half.
Remember when Chicago actually did?
Yeah.
In preseason, and he was like, fuck this shit, and went to Carolina.
I do remember that.
I remember watching in preseason and being like, what are they doing to Jared Allen? Why is he at linebacker? Why? That hurt my soul. That was that bad. That hurt me.
That is the absolute perfect way to end this show right there. Jared Allen at linebacker, what the fuck?
Some of the experiments this team had, I just don't understand.
They tried Everson Griffin at linebacker for a bit.
Yep, and they moved Chad Greenway to middle linebacker for about a week.
Mm-hmm.
A whole week.
Yeah, some of those experiments didn't work well. I'm surprised that the Mackenzie Alexander experiment, putting him in slot, I'm surprised that lasted an entire season.
Yeah.
Because he is so much better on the outside.
Joe Webb.
Oh, God.
Joe Webb.
Trying to find him whatever they could. I'm surprised the Vikings never labeled him OW like a lot of other teams did with their players.
The Denard Robinson offensive weapon.
Yeah. What's your position? OW. What?
All of these hurt my heart to talk about.
I think the Jacksonville fan base finally forgives us, though. I think that it's all water under the bridge now.
They have
because I don't get hate mail or mean tweets from them anymore.
That's true.
We used to.
Yeah, they were relevant 2 years ago. So, and they got rid of Blake Bortles, so they have to be happy.
Yeah, Jayhawk's excited to see what goes on down there now. Since they've got Foles, and I hope they don't do the Foles chant down there. That just makes me sad. I don't know how you guys reacted to that, but I didn't like it.
What was the chant again?
When the Eagles beat the Vikings and they were all chanting Foles with the skulls.
Oh, they did the Foles like our chant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, good luck in Jacksonville. You're not going to beat the Texans, and if you do, you're definitely not going to beat the Colts. So have fun being third in your division the rest of the time he's there.
Do you guys got anything else you want to talk about before we take off?
I'm good. That's it for me.
Mr. West?
I'm good.
All right, I'm going to plug a couple things then. Over on the Viking Age, you can download the app. You can go to the website. There's always something interesting going up on there. Recently, I posted a couple really neat articles, one about the best fifth-round draft picks of all time. And let's be honest, for the Vikings, they haven't been great, those fifth-rounders. So there's some names on there that's going to make you scratch your head a little bit. There was also an article I put up, I believe, yesterday about the 5 players who should have gotten a contract extension before Kyle Rudolph. And that was a gut reaction article. It was immediately how I felt about the deal. So it might be a little bit more passionate than well thought out, but it's definitely something that I still believe in 100%. So we're going to keep putting some interesting content up there. So please check it out. We'd love to have another amazing month over on the Viking Age where readers just have a great time and we keep putting out great content. So please keep visiting, sharing, subscribing, and everything over there because it's great. Meanwhile, over on, I don't even really want to talk about this, on Undead Walking, things in the comics, I don't know what to say. If you read the Walking Dead comics, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's kind of a weird time to be a comic book fan in that respect, but hopefully the future of the comics is absolutely bright, and I'm interested to see where the story goes from here. Also, we've got Fear the Walking Dead now. It's a couple episodes in, and I admit that heading into the season of Fear the Walking Dead, I wasn't super excited, but I'm getting a little bit more interested as the season goes on, so hopefully you guys are in the same boat as me. But you can check out both The Viking Age and Undead Walking. They both have their own app, or you can go to the website, and I'd appreciate it if you're a fan of each one, check them out and do your thing. Otherwise, that's all I've got for this week. I'm not going to be around for next week because I'm going to be in Minnesota or in Michigan helping out my mom and hanging out with friends and family. So I will be away. So it's going to be these guys. These guys are going to be taking care of you.
Uh-oh.
And whenever I leave the two Kyles together, I hope Dorian's there to be a referee because you guys go off the rails.
Oh, man. Yeah, this is it's just a floating cast of degenerates to nowhere.
Yeah, it's usually a little bit of chaos, but it's a little bit of fun too. So
We have fun when we do the shows, though.
Absolutely. On that note, I want to thank everyone again for tuning in. Thank you to everyone who joined us in the chat. Thank you to everyone who interacts with us on social media. And hopefully we can see you all again, other than me, next week. Stay classy, Minnesota.